Hey everyone, welcome back to Jamencast. It's me, your host, Jamin. I know, surprise. This is going to be a great episode. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're joining me. Thank you for being here. Jamencast, episode 5. We got a couple segments. I finally came up with a name for my What I'm Doing segment. And then I got a name for What's News. So we already had What's News last week and a couple weeks. What's News has been our what's going on in the world of video games that's impressive to me or interesting to me that I can share with you guys. And then now we got the What's Jammin'. That's my segment. So we got What's News, we got What's Jammin'. And we're going to be talking today about all those things. And then we have a great interview with a good man named Gildarik. He's another Twitch streamer. Eventually we'll get someone that's not a Twitch streamer on. But for these last few episodes, we have Twitch streamers up the hoosna and up the hubba-balubas. We got Twitch streamer. We got Gildarik. Excited about this. It was a very fun interview, very fun moment to talk to him. I got a good long discussion with him, and I'm happy to show you guys. So here we go, boys. Jamencast, episode 5. Let's go.
Jamin, yeah, Jamin. I hope you like a Jamin too.
What's news, people? A couple things in the news this week. Just two small things I want to talk about. Both of them related to WoW Classic. Big surprise, right? Starting off with WoW Classic, yeah, who would have thought? So layering has been getting a lot of flack in the World of Warcraft world, right? The realm of World of Warcraft. The online World of Warcraft realm. And layering is this thing that Blizzard's implemented. It's basically sharding, but it's not cross-realm. What they've done is they've blanketed an entire layer across a continent on the servers so that if you're in a layer with somebody and you run across to another zone, say you go from Tanaris to Winterspring, if that's even possible. I'm totally blanking on the continents and where things are geographically located. Let's just say Tanaris to Orgrimmar. If you fly from Tanaris to Orgrimmar and then you fly back, or they move to Orgrimmar, you guys will continually be able to run into each other if you bounce off each other and come back. Now, the whole point of layering is to have a max population cap on a layer so that there is not a swarm of people all on the same server competing over the same stuff and lagging the server and crashing the server. So layering is there to protect the end user from a horrible, horrible situation. So it's there for a good reason. But it's been shown to be exploited, right? There was a player, I believe it was either Stacy, I think it was Soda Poppin', maybe Stay Safe. I think it was Soda Poppin'. My brain is not 100% on that. That used it to get a Gurubashi Arena chest. He just got invited to a group, and he hopped layers. So you want to play with friends, but they're on a different layer. Well, they just invite you, and then you get sucked into their layer. So it's exploitable, right? Hey, I'm being attacked. Invite me to your group on a different layer. You'll get sucked into the new layer. You don't have to fight anybody anymore. You don't have to fight the gank that you were being ganked. Hey, there's a mineral node here. I just used it. Do you see a mineral node? Yes. Invite me. Okay, now I get another mineral node, even though we were on different layers. It's an abusable mechanic. So there's a couple different things you can do to alleviate these things people want that have their own ups and downs, right? Like, there's the idea, and I believe Stay Safe had a video about this, so Soda Poppin' exploited the mechanic, which is good. I think you should. I think you should totally show off the terrible things that you can do with layering so that Blizzard has a chance to fix it. And then Stay Safe released this video explaining layering and explaining the things that are considered solutions and how they have their own problems. Like, what if you just build up more servers so that there's less people on a specific server? Well, you can't, first off, you can't control where everyone goes. So just having extra servers doesn't mean that more people will spread out. Having population caps on servers and then adding a queue time is something they could do, but that's also annoying. It has its obvious drawbacks. So you just can't play now. So you're just going to log out and not come, and maybe you'll try to log in again next time. But more so, people are just going to be bored. There's going to be tons of people that can't log in, so they'll never log in again. And then another one is dynamic spawning, in that a mob, if there's 100 people in an area killing mobs, the mobs will respawn faster to accommodate the fact that there's so many people killing mobs. The problem with this one is that you end up just farming a specific spawn point for your mob, and everybody in the area is going to stand on their spawn point and kill their mob as many times as they need to for their quest. And it no longer feels like a world, it feels like a video game, and you have to exploit a mechanic in order to complete the scenario or complete the objective. You're now exploiting the code, right? You're now forcing the game to do what you want it to do rather than playing the game and enjoying it. And the next one is these multi-shard servers. So say you start a server called Illidan, and then you have 3 variations of Illidan. You have Illidan 1, Illidan 2, Illidan 3. And you can split your user base over these layers, quote unquote, but those people cannot interact with people from Illidan 1 or Illidan 2. And over time, as the game goes down in population, they merge those layers together. But there's a lot of problems with that. Merging layers is obnoxious. It really is bad. And Stay Safe does a really good job of explaining that it ruins the immersion. It ruins this idea that, who people are and the community. All of a sudden there's, you have 1,000, 3,000 people in your community, and then you start losing people. You're down to 1,500, and if new 1,000 people show up, now you have to learn who all these new 1,000 people are, and what's the chances of that? So layering has a lot of issues. I think one thing to note is that Blizzard is not really stating what they want or what they're going to do with layering, because people think layering is going to be gone after 2 weeks. Some people think it won't be gone until phase 2. Some people think it'll be 2 months, maybe 1 month. And nobody really knows the official stance of Blizzard. And I think that's important because I think Blizzard has to hold back some information. I don't think Blizzard wants to give out that kind of information. They don't want to be held to a standard of, hey, it's been 2 weeks. Come on, Blizzard, let's go get rid of this layering, when the game will still be in a state of dysfunction if they do remove the layering. So I think they're planning that. But they should come out and say that. They should say, hey, why not just say that, right? We are being flexible with layering. We will remove it when we decide it is the best to remove it. It will not be a permanent feature, but we will maintain when we will remove it that is best for everybody. And of course, there'll be people mad about that. But I think that's the only thing you can say, other than nothing, which I think nothing is the wrong thing to say. But maybe, I'm not a multi-billion dollar organization. I am just a podcaster, okay? Just a podcaster giving his opinion, all right? And the other thing to talk about for WoW Classic is melee leeway. Melee leeway is another thing that people are talking about on the Classic WoW subreddit. It's become this big deal. It's that, it didn't exist in World of Warcraft Vanilla, and if it did exist, it was there to solve a problem that no longer exists. So should we be solving a problem that no longer exists in hopes of having perfect Classic, or should we and so there's this big debate. There's conflicting information about if melee leeway, and let me explain what that is in a second, even existed in vanilla, and if it's a thing that should be in the game now. So melee leeway is this. When 2 targets are moving on a server, the server doesn't identify where they are perfectly. It has its own coordinates for them. So while they're moving, it gives them a little bit of leeway to strike each other. So your range of your melee attacks increases. Same with mobs. Mobs, their melee range increases a little bit. So you'll notice this when you root or slow a mob. If you're not standing right next to it, you might still get struck by that mob. And that's a little bit annoying. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good to be hit by something that you CC'd, because that's the point. So I was earthbind kiting on the stress test because I was told earthbind kiting was a very good way to play. And I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought I was doing it wrong because I would step out of range of the minion after striking it with my weapon and try to wait for my weapon swing time cooldown and then step back in and strike it. But it would keep hitting me for a couple extra swings. It would hit me 2 or 3 times before I was able to get out of range of it. And it was really weird. And I was thinking, oh, I'm just playing bad. I guess I'm not good at this earthbind kiting. I got to get better. But then I hear about this melee leeway thing, and I think maybe that's it. Maybe it is. And do I want to perpetuate this idea that I'm just really good? Yes, of course. I am amazing at this game. And that's not true. I'm decent. I'm pretty good. I like talking about it. So melee leeway, should that be in the game? Should a thing that's in there to fix server lag from vanilla WoW be in the game for a game when servers are not an issue? The issue is no longer servers and messing up your positioning. It's just there to preserve the classic experience. Or is it? Because there's a lot of people saying that it didn't exist in WoW. So what do you guys think? Layering. What's your opinion? Should we have layering in classic WoW? And melee leeway. Should that be in classic WoW? We only got a month, guys. And then classic WoW's out, and we're all going to be playing that beautiful baby. I'm excited. Tell me what you guys think. That really wasn't news. That was more WoW news, casting news, WoW, classic news. But, we're going to call it What's News. It's good enough. And we're going to move on to the next segment. What's Jammin'?
Jammin', oh, jammin', 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 jammin'. You're listening to Jammin' Cast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jammin' Cast. Welcome back to this beautiful podcast, baby, that I've got going here. I'm so excited to share what's jammin'. Because this week has been, first off, it's a quick week. It's a special, swift week for me because I'm leaving. So by the time you're hearing this, if you're hearing it the first day it came out, I've been gone for 4 days. I haven't been able to be on my computer. I have not been able to edit any audio. So I kind of crammed this sucker into the first 3 days of the week. But that's what's been going on with me. I've been playing some Nazjatar, some Mechagon, World of Warcraft, retail. And I mean, what segment doesn't start without WoW and Jamincast? What are we going to talk about first other than WoW? We'll find out. One day that's going to happen. One day we're going to have a podcast, and I'm going to talk about something other than WoW Classic and WoW Retail as my first thing. So anyway, I've been playing Nazjatar. I don't particularly enjoy Nazjatar. I think it's a nice zone. I'm enjoying the rep grind and doing the new quests. I'm a little bit tired of jumping on geysers already. That seems to be the big repeatable. I'm a little bit tired of the ley lines. I actually don't mind. I actually really enjoy the ley line puzzle quest, but the Bejeweled puzzle quest where I have to match 4 colors and make them blow up, or 3 colors and make them explode. Even now that they changed it so that you don't have to get 5 in a row, you can just get 80, or you have to eventually destroy 30 whatever colored gems. It's still an annoying quest. I mean, it's similar to the Tortolan's matching game quest. It's just kind of boring. I think I enjoy the Tortolans more because I don't feel like I have to even think as much. That one seems really simple. The Bejeweled one, the gem one, whatever you want to call it, it just is like, okay, let me find the 3 that crash. And could I do a better job of this? Could I strategize and strategizing all over that thing and try to find the most efficient way to blow up as many numbers as I can? Yeah, I could. I guess I could. But, don't. Please. The Jumping Jellies quest was surprisingly not as bad as I was expecting. I saw a lot of people complaining about it. I jumped on a jellyfish and landed. It was a little bit harder to control, a little bit annoying, I'll give it that, but it wasn't that bad. I got it after the 5th or 6th try, 7th try, whatever it was. I was getting a little frustrated, getting a little annoyed, and then it just kind of clicked, and I figured it out. It's not perfect. It could be better. Some of the server lag issues really mess with the ability to do it. But it seems like Blizzard's been really, really heavy on the hotfixes, really, really quick on the hotfixes. And another thing I want to talk about is the Battle of Nazjatar. So Blizzard, and I've noticed now that I'm seeing, I'm killing Naga now instead of Battle for Nazjatar. Battle for Nazjatar used to be a PvP thing, but you won't see it unless your shard has a balanced PvP population, which mine doesn't. Horde wins every time, which for me as a Horde is good. As an Alliance, it must suck because you don't get the credit or the quests. But Battle for Nazjatar does not spawn anymore. They should just get rid of it if you're not in war mode. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand how the game works, that you would get rid of a whole thing you just put in. Because I was enjoying it a little bit, flying to each area to defend the area. Yes, we were destroying people. It wasn't that fun for the Alliance, I assume, I guess. But the idea of, protecting my area and protecting my zone and getting the rewards at the end was fun. I didn't really care if I won or lost. I just liked the idea of running to somewhere and defending it, being like, oh, no, look at that. And why would you defend as an Alliance on my server when you know you're going to get swarmed by Horde? It's happened constantly. People are not defending as Alliance because there's no chance to. You get one, and then as soon as that thing turns blue, you know you got a big giant beacon on your head, and Horde are swarming in. And there's not enough people to capture other towers while they're focused on the one blue tower. And that's all I want to talk about WoW Classic. I think that's enough. I think I've talked about Classic WoW quite enough already. And I want to get to the next thing I've been playing, Hitman 2. I played this once so far. I was able to get through the preliminary level as well as the training level, and I did the training level a second time because they tell you to. And then they say, do you want to try it again? I say, yeah, let me try it again. And so the last time I'd used the rat poison and I pushed the guy's head down in a toilet. It's a very open-ended game. I can't wait to try some of these levels. It gave me a very, what do you call it? Who's Snake? Snake from Metal Gear. Give me that Metal Gear Solid feel of, stashing bodies, knocking people out, gathering supplies, getting a gun with a tranquilizer dart, or using a weapon, and then you got a bloody body, and you got to deal with the blood, and you can set up traps for people by turning on water, and there's these big open-ended things you can do. You decide how you're going to do this level. You get to decide how to kill everyone, if you're going to kill anybody other than the target, or if you're going to be very stealthy, if you're going to, take the form of someone else and take their bodyguard outfit, blend in. It happens. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting game. I'm really glad I got it. I picked it up on the Steam sale, and it was worth every penny. I mean, I've already played only one level, and I'm already in love with it. It's a great game. Fantastic game. I used the Ninja Stars. They're really, really effective in short range. I had a shotgun, but it was really loud, so it scared everybody. I used a sword, so I was able to slice people up. I used my weapons. I used a pipe. I used poison. I used a battery. I used a propane tank. I turned lights on and off. I went up and down stairs. I climbed into a freezer. I dropped a guy into a freezer who was naked. I dropped a person into a closet who was naked. I put another person in a closet. I punched a guy and I knocked him out. And then I picked him up and I put him in the closet with a police officer who I had also knocked out. So it's a good game. It's fun. It's really crazy. And I'm excited to stream it more. I can't wait to stream that game because being so open-ended, you can really, choose your own adventure kind of thing to figure out how to beat this. And then the second time you play, you can, refine your skills, rehone yourself. I was going to refone. That was what I was going for. I meant rehone and refine all together in one beautiful game. It's really fun. I don't know if I care about the story. I do enjoy the worlds and the levels. So that's what's jamming. That's what's been going on in this world of jamming. I've been streaming a lot. Not this week as much because I've got this prior engagement this weekend. So I appreciate it, guys. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I'm blown away by the people that have shown me support on Twitter, shown me support anywhere, shown me coming to stream and said how much they liked it. It's been amazing. I'm astounded by the people that have done that. It really makes my day. It makes me so happy. It makes everything feel like I'm doing something right. So thank you. And that's what's Jamin boys. That's what's Jamin girls. We're going to head over to the interview with Mr. Gildarik. Twitch.tv/Gildarik. Please follow him. And here's the interview. Take it away, Mr. Jamin. Hey everyone, this is Jamin. Welcome back to Jamincast. I'm here talking with a friend of mine, Gildarik. He's a fellow Twitch streamer, plays a lot of shooter games, and we're going to talk about video games. How you been, Gil? What's going on?
I've been pretty good. I'm excited to talk about, all kinds of different video games.
Yeah.
I was
Go ahead.
I was just watching. I was listening to your Miller podcast just today. Kind of getting a feel for what kind of questions I would, be hearing.
Yeah, and I the first question I always have, and it's the I feel like it's the one the touchstone for everyone is, what's the first game that you remember that left an impression on you?
Ooh, that left an impression on me.
Mm-hmm. Not just the first game you played, which you can answer that too, but what's the first game you remember leaving an impression on you?
Honestly, it was kind of a joke for me, but I feel like I have to say it anyway because it did leave an impression. It was at my grandma's house, right? I was really, really young at this point, but I remember it so vividly. She had a really, really old computer. It didn't use any Windows. It was not a Windows operating system. And it was the Snake game, 2D, 8-bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was the first video game experience I ever had. I don't know how young I was though. Holy crap!
But playing Snake, and did you play it yourself? Did someone show you how to play it, or were you playing it with a friend?
Simple.
Yeah, you just got it. You just figured it out.
Yeah, we probably. I think someone probably told us because I was really young.
Yeah.
How to play, but yeah, I don't remember.
Just playing Snake. Did you do that all the time? Did you go over there
No.
Just one time you just remembered going over there and playing Snake?
No, we had played it a couple times, a few times over there. And at some point, I don't know where it came from, but my dad had an old Atari arcade game, arcade CD game, whatever, that we played on his PC. After that, I don't know where it came from, but there were a bunch of different games on that, old Atari games.
Gotcha. And then what did you transition into any other game? Did you what was growing up in the Gildarik household? What games did you end up playing as a child?
Sure. For a while, I think my parents avoided having us get into video games. Everybody was afraid of video games back then. So I played soccer for a while, but after a bit, someone gifted us an N64, Ocarina of Time. That was definitely one of the first ones that just lifted it off for me,
Yeah, that's a hell of a game to just jump into after Snake and Atari games.
Yeah, it certainly was. I got pretty. I don't want to say we were that into it. It was fantastic. We played it a lot, but I actually think playing Ratchet and Clank and watching each other play through the storyline because it was very linear, and that was easier for us to get into. But Ocarina of Time we kept going back to for a long time. It's such a good game.
So Ratchet and Clank was on N64 as well, right? I never had an N64, so I don't.
Actually,
it's a hole in my memory of what.
No, it actually wasn't. You're right. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot someone gifted us a PS2 shortly after the N64, so we kind of got a wide range shortly after we started getting video games. We started getting a lot all at once. Yeah, so Ratchet and Clank was first PS2 game I probably ever got. I think Battlefront 1 as well was
that was a good game.
There.
Holy cow.
That was an amazing game. Yeah, I feel like I got the jackpot with the first games that I played.
Yeah, Battlefront, holy cow. That's one of the best shooter games to have, talking of shooters. Just like growing up with that, because it was so easy and simple, and like it didn't require like an insane amount of like I watch you play Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm just like, holy cow, how did you even see that person move? I didn't see anything, and you shot someone, and I'm like, you open a hole in a wall that's the size of a penny, and you're trying to look through it. I'm like, what is this game?
Yeah.
Battlefront was just like a wide open, just running around, just rolling to dodge lasers and bombs and stuff. Well, completely different, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain point, I mean, to a certain extent, it's like kind of traditional. You're still just throwing the grenades, you're still just shooting, automatic weapons and stuff like like the old Battlefield games and stuff. But yeah, it's Star Wars, so it really, really, really appealed to me and my brother, obviously.
Yeah, and then you get that didn't have heroes in it yet, right? It was just the first one was just troops, I'm pretty sure, and vehicles and stuff.
I think it did have heroes. I can't remember. I really can't.
Yeah, it's been a long time. They all blend together. It's like asking which Call of Duty has a certain thing in it. You're like, I don't remember. That doesn't make
it actually might have had heroes, but only in the campaign. Maybe I'm really not sure.
Yeah.
I know I was not a competitive player at all back then. Now
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have been. You know me from Heroes. I know you from Heroes.
Yeah.
And now I'm just playing, Apex Legends and Siege, obviously competitive games, but I definitely haven't been that my whole life.
So why be competitive now? What changed? Just they have a longer longevity game wise.
That's probably part of it. Yeah, I've always had a fascination with open world games. Like honestly, at some point we got an Xbox, and I got GTA San Andreas. Very child unfriendly, but it was open world, so it was so fascinating. But I just couldn't get that into it. I super enjoyed watching my brother play it, and he was very into it. But I don't know. It's got all the freedom, but it's got none of the features, it's not that optimized, the GTA games. There's all these little bugs and all that little stuff. I guess all of those little things really turned me off of that idea. It's not until you get to the really, very linear, like Call of Duty-esque competitive games that you get to like really optimized experiences,
Yeah. Everything's been looked at 100 times. As opposed to GTA, it's kind of like, oh, that works, all right, it's good, ship it, and then if it becomes a problem, we'll fix it later, kind of thing.
Yeah, but most of the time they don't fix it.
Yeah, if it's like actually a problem, or I don't know. Yeah, that sounds. I haven't played like a online GTA ever, or even the single player I've always played, and then online. Every time I get on, I'm like, what's the point? You just the same thing you do in the single player, except now there's people that grief you. I'm like, all right.
Actually, glad you mentioned that. I didn't actually play any online game for a long time. I was so late to that party.
What was your first online game?
RuneScape. Gotta be RuneScape.
Was it old, like RuneScape, old school RuneScape, or the new old school RuneScape when they re-released it, or what year? What year are we talking?
Technically back. Oh God, years. Crap. I would have to honestly. I don't know. Like I really have terrible memory.
Gotcha.
Especially with time. But it was so there was RuneScape 1, which is we call classic RuneScape. Those servers are gone now.
Okay.
There was RuneScape 2. This is old school RuneScape now. That's what I played back then. And then RuneScape 3 is like the new RuneScape that nobody likes.
I've heard of RuneScape 3. I've heard of old school RuneScape. I didn't realize there was 1, 2, and I guess 3. I've heard of it, so it has to have been the third one. I don't know which one I played. I know I played one of the RuneScapes a long, long, long time ago, before WoW or before anything really. That was like one of the first online games. I think it was because it was like, hey, look, this is Diablo 1 but online. I think because the animations were so like so jarringly static. Like it felt a lot like Diablo 1, the way you controlled your character and everything. And yeah, the old RuneScape, man. Did you play any other MMOs? Anything else?
Oh yeah. From RuneScape, I actually played RuneScape for quite a while, but I wasn't that hardline into it. I was a very casual player of everything back then. But yeah, from there I went to WoW. My brother was looking into Guild Wars at some point to replace RuneScape. I think he tried a trial or something, and he was like, we have to pay upfront a lot of money to play this game. Let's just play WoW. And yeah, I don't know. Somehow that was the better option for some reason.
Yeah, I'm trying
But
to think. Wasn't RuneScape? It wasn't free. RuneScape wasn't free.
we paid a membership, I guess. It was $5 a month back then.
Oh, and then WoW was $15 a month, but it was cheaper somehow.
Well, cheaper than Guild Wars.
Oh, Guild Wars. Okay, Guild Wars.
At least we thought it would be.
Gotcha.
It ended up definitely not being.
Yeah. But I think WoW is probably the right choice still. It's probably more value.
I mean, it
At the
certainly was for me.
Yeah.
Played it long time.
What so when did you start? You started in vanilla?
I started in BC actually.
Okay.
You started in vanilla, right?
I was like I started during the Burning Crusade pre-patch, so I could technically say I started in vanilla, but really I started in Burning Crusade.
Okay.
Like the portal hadn't opened yet and people weren't allowed to go into Outland yet when I started. But all the talents and all the new abilities and stuff had been patched into the game already.
Okay. Actually, funny story about just I was a really dumb kid, and here's a good example. So I started with a hunter in BC. I got to like what was the max level? 70. I got to 65, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Terracar Forest, I remember that was where I was questing at the time, and my account got hacked at some point, and Blizzard didn't believe me that my account got hacked, and I was a little kid, and I didn't feel like telling my parents. I thought they would be mad at me or something.
Yeah.
Never got that account back. Period.
Wow. That sucks. So you had a hunter all the way to 65, and then you got hacked somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the hack. I literally never got that account. I don't even know what like any of the emails were or anything.
Wow. That's crazy. Did you
yeah, I just
end up
couldn't
having to
believe it.
buy another account and everything?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I did get another account apparently. I
Yeah.
don't know how that was like a thing.
Yeah, you were just like, I'm not telling my parents. I'm just going to pay another $60 or however much it
I
costs
don't-
for the game.
See, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Right? Yeah, I don't understand it either. Yeah, but it's something that a kid could do. I'm guessing. I guess.
I mean, I for sure didn't get that account back. I know that.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know.
And so
That's-
you leveled
that's
up.
like the weirdest.
Did you level up a hunter again on your new totally safe account?
You know, that's,
legally obtained account.
it's actually it might have been a blessing in disguise because I hated Hunter at that point. I found it very boring. I've always loved the leveling up experience. I was listening to your podcast from Miller with Miller, and he was talking about the grind. He loves the grind. I was definitely the same way. I loved the questing. I loved getting the dungeons for dungeon quests and stuff, and doing those just like once or twice. I wouldn't spam dungeons for XP or anything.
Right.
But hunters just ruined all the fun, man. I mean, just sending a pet to do all the work and then not taking any damage. It was insanely easy.
Yeah, very little challenge with a hunter. It's like every class now in Wrath, and since Wrath and onward, I feel like is now able to do everything the hunter can. And the hunter had it, 2 expansions before, in the fact that it was just really simple and you could just kill everything, and it was like not an issue. Now every class is the same place in the retail game, and that you're just like, oh, this is really easy, and I don't really have any chance of dying here.
Yeah, it's kind of like there are a lot of games like that kind of do that. I feel like a lot of MMOs coming out are very easy until you get to the end game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Black Desert Online is actually an interesting one, where like you start off and then you're learning the game, and there's like such a learning curve, but because it's like combo based and stuff, like you have to control plus left click does an attack, and then forward left click does a different attack, and there's like a lot of combos to weave together as well. But once you get that down, it's literally just spamming until the end game. Like there's no difficulty until you get to the end game. Yeah, honestly, I don't suggest that game, but but I'm just using that to say I think there are a lot of games that are just going an easier, more casual route, and honestly, it's killed the casual gameplay for me in general.
Yeah, seeing the cash grab money things in the game for WoW, and even in Heroes and stuff too. Heroes was actually kind of crazy in that it really wasn't. It gave away pretty much everything, and they even patched it now that it's even less, like, you don't have to buy anything anymore. Like, there's no more gem skins, only skins. You can now use shards for everything, and like,
wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, so all those gem only skins, you can now buy them for shards, and they really patched the game into a point where it's really fun to play, but then you're like, it's just in really direct stance with like looking at World of Warcraft, and you're like, well, there's the store mounts and like all the little things that they had to, like, you know, get money out. I think it's like a $60 character boost. Like if you want to boost a character to the max level, or like,
oh god,
it's like $60. It's like buying the whole game again just for one character to skip the leveling process.
yeah, dude. I started playing again in Warlords of Draenor. See, I quit in Cataclysm, and then I started playing again in Warlords of Draenor with my friend Nate. And
Yeah.
Jesus, we got a free, max level character. Like, and then the end game was what was lacking.
Yeah,
There was such bad end game content, so we were just like, what do we even do? We already have max level characters. It was nothing. It was we quit.
You burn out really quick. Yeah, I burned out.
Yeah.
I burned out on every new expansion within the first couple months since Cataclysm. I didn't play at all in Panda Land, and then Draenor, I came back, and then they were like, you get your own like private housing. It's a garrison, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then you get there and you realize it's a mobile game, and you're like, oh, this is not cool at all. This is boring. This is like
free money.
Yeah, check in every 24 hours so that you can make sure you start your next missions, and you're like, holy crap, I don't have fun. I mean, the game was already check in every 24 hours so you can do your dailies, but it's like it's a whole nother level when you don't have to move your character.
Yeah, I really liked Cataclysm at the beginning of Cataclysm because of Worgen race. So it was kind of weird. In Wrath, I went from Alliance. I was always Alliance, but all my friends switched to Horde for some reason, like literally all of them. So I switched to Horde, and then when by the time Cata came out, a bunch of people quit. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be Horde. I hate Horde. So I went over to Worgen, and I was Warrior at this point. I just loved that. But yeah, I mean, the end game was pretty lacking in Cata, so I ended up quitting, especially because I heard there were pandas coming to the game, and I was like, this is dumb. But you know what? I hear from so many people that the panda leveling was actually so fun. I hear that a lot.
I hear that the Mist of Pandaria was one of the best expansions, or one of the least appreciated expansions, or something. There's always like good sentiment about Mist of Pandaria, and I know going back and doing their raids and stuff, like the Throne of Thunder, is actually like really cool to do, but I never experienced it or knew it during when it was actual end game content. So it doesn't hold that special of a place in my heart. And then Siege of Orgrimmar is got to be one of the worst things to ever run for transmogs. It's just the huge giant monstrosity of a raid. Is that the end of Cataclysm? No, that was the end of Pandaria. Yeah. Where you fight Garrosh, and then he jumps on a golden dragon and flies back in time to start Warlords of Draenor. What a convoluted timeline.
Yeah, I stopped keeping track. I don't even know. I didn't do a lot of raids in my day. Like, even when I played the game for years, a lot, I didn't even like get into raids or care about the lore. I don't know. I can't even imagine how casual I was back then. It like doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be tons of other stuff going on. I don't think I didn't get very into it until Wrath. Like Burning Crusade, like I just barely started scratching the surface of raiding. People wouldn't let me come along basically, and I didn't like know what I was doing. And Wrath was where I really started pushing hard to raid. And then Cataclysm, I raided really hard for the first couple months, and we burned out after we killed Cho'Gall, and it was like, oh, all right. There's nothing left to do. Okay. All right, guys. See you later. And I'll come back when they release new content. And then it was just like new content came out, and you were like, I don't care that much. Other stuff came up. Life came up.
WoW might have been. Yeah, WoW was definitely where I started to dip my feet into being competitive, because I was always on a PvP server. I viewed it as the right way to play the game.
Right.
That's how I viewed it. And the open world PvP was a little annoying at times, but I always felt like that added danger was kind of exciting, right? Especially when you're like in Stranglethorn Vale, starting off, you're level 28 or something. Oh man, you were so susceptible to that. But I don't know. Once you get to like level 32 or something, you're fighting a lot of people on even footing, and I don't know. It was really great.
Yeah, and then by the time you're about to leave, you're like, let me go kill a newbie real quick. Go let him feel some pain that I felt.
I actually hated that. Like, I never did that. I was so against. I don't know.
Killing
like
a low
maybe
level.
I'm putting. Yeah, like maybe I'm thinking of myself as like some sort of martyr or something, but
Yeah.
I always avoid that. I always avoided that. I was always like making fun of my friends who would do that, make them feel bad for it. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I can just imagine like being like, I'll take the pain so you don't have to.
Oh man, if someone was complaining about being ganked in an area and I was just happened to be there or something, I would every single time I would go try to help, even if I was like not PvP gear at all.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that World PvP was huge in vanilla, and the Burning Crusade eventually was not really that big a deal unless you were in old vanilla because you couldn't fly there. As soon as flying comes into effect, though, the PvP just kind of goes into nothing because you can just fly away, and it's like,
Oh yeah, you're right.
You lose that World PvP feeling because they can just get away at any moment, and they can't. You can just fly away. There's no mobs will not daze them. They can go in any direction because there's no mobs to daze them to stop them. So, yeah,
It's actually it's so funny because there were some classes that could get away with dismounting you in midair, but that's not even fair though, right? Because like if they dismount you in midair and you just fall and die, like that's not even a fight. Like mages could dismount you midair, I'm pretty sure, right? And then they could slow fall and get away with it.
Could they polymorph you? Is it instant polymorph or something?
I'm not. I thought mages had a way. I know that druids have a way of doing it and landing safely. I know that they do.
I'm sure they've all been patched. They've probably been patched out by now, but at some point they probably did.
Yeah, I know I'm playing on a Wrath private server, and yeah, druids are terrifying.
Yeah, Wrath druids were insane, and I think I mentioned this on the podcast. I don't know if I did, but my brother used to play PvP with a druid. He was a warrior. I think in Wrath, might have been Burning Crusade. They would do arenas, and the druid bound his Swiftmen to F4. And so anytime he would self-cast Swiftmend, he would press Alt F4. And
oh my god!
It took him months to figure out that his game was not crashing. It literally was the funniest thing I ever heard when my brother told me that his because they were going for Gladiator and they were like one of the best on the server. And he goes, but he keeps crashing. He keeps crashing, and it's getting more and more common now. He has to get a new computer, and he's like telling me all about it. And then like one day he's just not telling me about it anymore. I'm like, what's going on with that? He's like, he was self-casting. I'm like, oh my god.
That's so dumb, dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I've never. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let me put this on F4, and then anytime I self-cast it, we lose the game.
No, actually, I never did Arena, and I rarely even did Battlegrounds. I did like Battlegrounds because you could just be self-sufficient, right? You could just like ignore your team, just go off and do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was pretty asocial for me playing WoW. Like doing the open world PvP, maybe I would help some people, but I was always like, I'll help you, and then I'm not going to add you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was a pretty asocial experience back then. Definitely different now, huh?
Yeah. Now it's asocial by design almost. It's like they don't want you to talk to each other. It's just keep going and keep grinding and get the money and get the gold and get the loot and keep moving. In vanilla and stuff, and this I guess it's just the hype for classic really talking. It's there's a mob. Oh, we both need that mob. Let me group up with you and try to get that. And then
Dude,
now it's
one
not.
of the biggest letdowns was when they introduced random dungeon finder in Wrath. Like that actually ruined so much of the game for me. Like I would you would group up with people and then you'd like walk over to the dungeon. I guess in Wrath you were already flying to the dungeon, so it was already like free safe, but
Yeah.
especially at lower levels, having random dungeon finder just completely ruined the dungeon experience. Like you could do dead mines as horde for free. Like you don't have to walk into enemy territory or anything. I don't know.
Yeah,
Totally
leveling in the game, and I'm doing this right now in live I have a shaman I'm leveling for no particular reason, but other than it's fun. but I'm avoiding dungeons because it's so easy and it's so boring. You get the best gear in the game that you can get. You get good experience, and you just go and kill everything, and there's no challenge. Like, there's no, like, dungeon that you wipe on, because everybody that's running dungeons has dungeon gear, because they've been running dungeons the entire time, and they've been getting levels. And so you don't even quest. You don't go out and quest at all, because there's no reason to. You just queue up in the dungeon finder. It takes 5 minutes. You do a couple quests while you're waiting, but then by the time you get out of the dungeon, you've leveled past the area you're in. You just move on. But actually, they do have level scaling now in the game for everything. So you can level from 1 to 60 in the Barrens, I think. If you, I mean, you'll run out of quests at some point, but the mobs will continue to scale with you. So at some point, you can hit 60, and when you hit 59, all the mobs turn 59 as well.
Wow.
So you can level, and then anyone who's playing with you doesn't have to be your same level. And then at 60, you can go to either Wrath or Burning Crusade. You can choose which one you want to go to. And from 60 to 80, I believe, you can do Wrath and Burning Crusade. And then from like 80 to 110, it's Pandaland and Warlords of Draenor, I think.
I don't even remember what like area Warlords of Draenor leveling was.
It was Draenor.
What did it look like?
It looked like Outland, but like a solid. Like it was a whole nother world. And there was like the Frostwolf orcs and the ogres, and I think that was about it. There was about orcs and ogres, and then I don't know. Were there Draenei? I think there were like some Draenei, but they were like, it was like a fully realized. It was like Outland, but it wasn't exploded. That was the whole point.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, yeah, I kind of remember that. I was like,
it was your garrison.
Yeah.
You remember your garrison? That's what it was. That was
yeah,
the whole
I
game.
remember the garrison.
Yeah,
that was the entire game for sure.
Yeah. And then you just dungeon find it out of your garrison, and then raid find it out of your garrison, and then
You never had to, talk to anyone ever.
Yeah. You go to Orgrimmar to like auction house or something, I guess.
Oh yeah, even raids became like the most casual
I guess you would be going
experience.
to Stormwind or Ironforge.
Oh, but even raids in Draenor were like the most casual of experiences, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean
you would
now
actually
there's
just
like
random raid finder.
there's raid finder mode, there's normal mode, there's heroic mode and mythic mode or something like that. I don't know if there's that many versions, but like I think there's raid finder, there's normal, heroic at least. So there's at least 3 different versions. But if you do it on raid finder, you're like, well, now I have to find a group of 10 people. I have other stuff I can do right now. I don't really need. I've seen the content. I've seen what it looks like. Yes, the gear will be better. It'll look better a little bit, but is it worth putting my time in, like trying to like apply to things and like say, hey, I'm worthy of going, and then setting up the whole schedule of being there every week, and you're like, oh man, it's too much work. I'm just gonna raid finder, and then you're like, I'm done with this game. I'm fully geared, and I could get more gear if I went to the normal modes and heroic modes, but that's not worth my time.
Exactly. Like it's all like what's worth your time. It honestly, like raid finder, dungeon finder, this kind of made the game like pretty fucking toxic. Sorry. I don't know, like in the private server, for instance, I was just playing recently. I was doing some random dungeon finder, and we got to Blackrock Depths Upper City, I think it's called. And people were just like, kick me. I want to re-queue. This one takes too long.
Yeah.
They just want to get through the easiest dungeon, either Blackrock Depths Prison or like Sunken Temple, and they would like exploit through it somehow. There was a way.
There was the one I think it's BRD where you take the gnome, the drill, whatever, that's right next to the entrance, and it teleports you like right next to the final boss, and you just jump down and kill him, and then you're done.
I don't know, dude.
And it's like
that's not the way I play games.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's boring. I was like, oh, this guy knows like a way to get to the next area, and then we jumped down and we were on top of the final boss, and I was like, oh, and then the game ended, and then the thing ended, and I was like, this literally took 3 minutes, and everyone leaves the group immediately, and no one talks, and it's just like,
yep,
here we go.
In BRD Prison, it's not even that hard. Like there's not even something to learn. It's literally just go forward, take the path on the right, and then there's 2 rooms full of mobs that you kill, and then the boss, and you're done. everyone leaves. One boss, it's ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whereas,
and getting a group together and then like talking to each other and being like, hey, we're over here. Where are you? What's going on? All right, we're all here, guys. All right, let's start. And then like doing it and then actually having like a chance to kill you because not everybody's wearing heirlooms and the best gear in the game.
Oh my god, heirlooms.
Yeah. I took all my heirlooms off for my my shaman. Man. And just leveling without heirlooms is so much fun because everything has a chance to be an upgrade. Like I was running around with a frying pan in my hand for one weapon for a while. I was like, this is awesome. Like if I had an heirloom weapon, I would not be wearing this frying pan right now. So I'm excited. And then, I mean, Classic WoW's coming out, and I can't have a Jamin cast talk without Classic WoW. And I'm just really excited for that. I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to murder you because I'm gonna be playing Horde. But it'll be fun. It'll be fine. We can at least coordinate some Alliance for Horde events. That'd be good.
For sure. Remember when BRD is a good example. Remember running BRD back before Random Dungeon Finder, and then your whole team would just go throughout the entire dungeon, killing every single boss, and there were so many. I don't know, it was like an hour-long excursion. It was a huge commitment because you had to walk there. It was such a good deal. It was so good. I don't know. There were a lot of good dungeons like that. Like even Maraudon, which I hate, has like a bunch of different paths you could spend because you had to walk there. You had to take the time with your whole team to walk all the way over there. You might as well spend like an hour and a half doing the different dungeons.
Yeah, and finding someone with the Stratholme key to get to the back gate of Stratholme.
Oh yeah.
Oh my! It was like, oh, thank you. This guy has a key. Make sure we get one person with a key so we can go to the back gate. It was really cool. I mean, it was cool to because I wasn't playing during vanilla, so strat wasn't like a thing. But going there and being like, hey, we're gonna farm the mount, and being like, well, I have this key from vanilla. I was like, oh, this guy's cool. He played in vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always good. And then I think Maraudon was Princess. I think right was Princess whatever the.
Oh hell, I don't know. I hated it.
She was
a terrible
the giant earth elemental girl at the very end.
That's got to be true. There were definitely a lot of elementals involved in that. I'm just guessing that's probably true.
She's like a super, super ugly model. But all my friends were like, when we ran it the first time, I remember it. I mean, it took forever to do it. Like this whole dungeon, they're like, dude, you have to see this final boss. They kept telling me, they're like, she's so gorgeous. This beautiful, beautiful woman. Like they did such a good job with this model. And I'm thinking like, guys, it's like an animation. Like, okay, yeah, like, I don't know how it's. First off, it's vanilla WoW graphics. It can't be that good,
right?
But your head and you're like, well, let's go see it. Let's find it. And then finally you get there, and she's like, one of her attacks is like a fart attack, and she like, she's so ugly.
You got trolled.
Yeah, it was good, but it made that memory. And if I was doing a dungeon finder, I would not care. We would just be burning through whatever the hell was there, and no one would be talking or like saying, "Hey, have you ever done this before?" Or like, "Let's show you what's up." Yeah. And if anyone in a dungeon finder doesn't know what they're doing, it's like if they say, "I don't know what I'm doing." People just tell them what to do, and then but they don't like be like, "Oh, welcome, man. Like, let me show you." Like, it's just like, do this, okay.
Yeah, dude. And if you wipe, people leave. Period.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
that's my experience.
Yeah, tanks and healers for sure. They just leave because they have an instant queue. The DPS sometimes stick around because they're like, I don't really want to wait in a 9-minute queue for another dungeon. Let me see if this one will finish with the new tank or new
right. Healer. It's just ridiculous. Like it's made the game more toxic and more casual at the same time somehow. It's crazy. I don't know. I think it was like Guild Wars 2 does the same thing. You can waypoint anywhere in the world once you've been there once. So it's sort of the same sort of mentality. You join a dungeon group and then you just teleport there. Like I don't know. And then people just leave once you wipe once. Although wiping's not that painful in that game. You don't have to like walk all the way back from outside the dungeon. There's like a waypoint there that I don't know. It's a different experience, but yeah, it's still like the same toxic culture of like everything's on demand, right? You don't have to walk anywhere, commit to anything. You just teleport there. If you lose, just find a different team. Pretty ridiculous. I don't know. Such a mistake in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe it's made them more money though. I don't know.
I think the thing that makes them the money is the whales, is the people that the people that will drop their wallet on the game and spend, like they just had the new mount come out. It's $75 for 6 months of game time, plus you get a mount. Or you can spend $25 and just get the mount by itself. And every mount in the store is $25. I could hate on retail WoW. It has been a lot of fun to play though recently, but I think it's just because there's a bunch of new content, and it's not like I haven't repeated anything yet. Like I've just been doing. I think the new dungeon came out today. Is today Tuesday? Yeah, I think the new dungeon came out today, and the new raid and stuff. So it's right now it's interesting content.
Bond in chat says it's the 9th when the new dungeon
gotcha.
comes out. I know he's really caught up on live, but I'm not really playing live WoW. But there are a lot of games that rely on whales, right? I mean,
Heroes was a game that relied on whales.
Yeah, absolutely. But there were whales.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah, I remember all them in the Twitch streams, just watching these people donate money and being like, "Holy crap! Like how?"
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Remember Bam Bam getting like hundreds of subs at a time.
Yeah.
Man, those were crazy times. Like I haven't found a game that has such a small committed community like that one since then. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing Heroes recently. It's still a lot of fun to play.
It definitely is. I just for me specifically, once I saw like a lot of the pros quitting, even before the devs gave up on the HGC, even before then, I was already like,
yeah, you could feel it if you were paying attention.
Could.
You could feel it.
You definitely could.
It was
feel
just like everyone was like smiling through it, but you could feel it.
Like everyone, we were all in denial, and even though I didn't play for like 3 weeks before they, when they made the announcement that HGC wasn't coming back, I already hadn't played for 3 weeks, but I was still in denial. I was still hoping the game was getting another HGC. I was
another 2.0
really,
revamp or another infusion of life to the game somehow.
Absolutely, I was so committed to the game, even though I hadn't played it in 3 weeks at that point or more. I think it was like 3 weeks.
But I think once Dustin Browder left is when it started going downhill.
Honestly, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that opinion, but I've been sharing that opinion with you this whole time.
Yeah.
Like once Heroes 2.0 actually like
Heroes 2.0 was great. It was fun to play, but Browder, for some reason, there was something that Browder was doing that kept the game fresh and interesting. And I don't know when they removed ammo, if Browder was still around. But the whole idea that they started removing ammo and stuff, and like at the time you were like, oh, okay, they're making it more competitive and stuff. But it also lost the idea of are we just playing a new version of League? Like, are we just changing it to be we're changing the things that make this game that make this game special, and like the whole mentality. Why was that there? Like, so that people could push, and like split pushers could be obnoxious because they would remove all your ammo, and then it was annoying. Like Murky was obnoxious. Like Chen was annoying because there was ammo. And
don't remember. I don't remember I don't know how I feel about the ammo removal of towers. I kind of see what you're saying, but
I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. Like I don't think it was like either way, but it was also a unique thing. It was unique, and to remove it, I don't know if it made the game better or not.
Yeah, that's true. Man, remember Heroes of the Dorm live on Facebook back in like 2016?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And ESPN2 having Heroes of the Dorm too as well.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it? I think it was actually ESPN2 and Facebook in 2016, I think, or maybe 2017. I don't remember. That was such a good time for the game. Like it was such a, I don't know. It was growing at that point for sure.
Yeah, Heroes was definitely doing well at that point. It's kind of, Murky and Cloud9 is still, like, I watched it the other day, so I was telling someone about, like, Murky, they're a League of Legends player, and they were like, what, you play the Heroes game still? And I was like, I don't play it as much anymore, but And they were like, what are there any like cool heroes in there? I'm like, is there like a pro team pull out any like bad hero at some point or something? I don't know how we got on topic, and I was like, oh, did they? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Let me guys tell
You're
you.
You're in for a treat with this one.
And I played the whole draft for them, and I'm explaining the draft, and I'm like, well, that's that's Tassadar, and that's Abathur, and they're on Cursed Hollow, so the enemy team is expecting an Illidan, so they're going to pick all these anti-Illidan heroes, and then they draft Murky, and it's Murky and Leoric and Tassadar and Abathur. I forget it was their fifth one, but I think it was Jaina, maybe? I don't remember.
I can't remember. It was someone who didn't have that much mobility, but they were playing very safe. I can't remember who.
But yeah, they're having, and then it just like I got chills watching it, like watching them block in Murky, and the crowd's reaction, like I got chills. I was like, what the hell? Like this, I knew it was coming. Like why am I still freaking out about it?
It was so hype though.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Oh man, HGC was so engaging for me, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on it all the time. I had all these bits left after HGC closed down, and I was like, I think I had like 8,000 bits left or something on my, and I was like sitting there like looking at them like, oh, I guess I'm not cheering doing any HGC cheer.
Man, it was the only esports I've really ever gotten into. I haven't even really gotten into esports since then. I'm really into Siege right now, and I'm quite into Apex as well. Not so much lately, but I'm still hopeful about it. And I don't know, dude. Like Siege is good to watch. Pro League, I actually like watching it, but I haven't like gotten that engaged with the casters. I haven't really fallen in love with any casters. I haven't. I don't know. It hasn't been like Heroes. Heroes was once you play the game and then you watch the pros play the game. You can see them all at once. You can see how they merge, how they melt together, and it's just a different experience, dude.
So, Dustin Browder said when he was designing the game, he had read a book about teamwork.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And like the whole game was designed with the idea that teamwork was the most important part of the game. And it's just amazing to think like how that game came out, and like that's exactly what I ever wanted from a game for some reason, and then it just kind of wasn't supported. I don't know, it's crazy. Also, I think the HGC was a mistake. I remember when it came out thinking this is a lot of money. How are they going to make this money back? Like, and then 2-3 years down the line, it was like, oh yeah, that was too much money. They can't afford that anymore. It didn't take off the way they thought it might. Or the investment for the game was not worth it. It's really sucks.
The teamwork thing is actually it's really interesting because I totally agree with you. Like the teamwork thing, that was at the core of the game, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in the pro play at the top level, you could see the biggest thing that set them aside from the master players or anyone else,
Mm-hmm.
was the teamwork. It wasn't the mechanics, even though yes, they were very mechanically good. Obviously.
Yeah, but it was lining up
goodness.
spells and abilities and
Yeah,
knowing what's
but
on cooldown and what's not.
It was the timing. It was the map knowledge. Obviously, it was knowing. Yeah, it was pre-planning strats out.
Mhm.
It was
like
going for risky plays altogether.
Yeah.
Trusting your team would be there with you.
Yeah.
That's what set them aside. But you know what? That's actually what turned a lot of players off of the game. People that came from League really loved being able to carry.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into HOTS and having so few options for carry characters, and then the whole community being like, no, this isn't that type of game. They really didn't like that.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, it's just totally different mentality.
I'm trying to remember if it was Dignitas. I think it was Dignitas on Towers of Doom, or no, not Tower, on Spider Queen. There was one point where a Stitches threw a hook and a Ragnaros hammer came down.
Oh my god!
Before the hook landed on anybody.
Yep.
And the hammer hit because he knew that he had to throw it at that exact moment, and it was a Tyrael, I think.
It was a Tyrael. That was Zalia. Zalia was the Ragnaros. I think he was brand new to the team too. It was his first time on an international stage, and he totally trusted JPL. Was it?
With the hooks. Yeah, I think you're right.
To land that hook, and it worked out. Ended up winning them the game. It was absolutely incredible to watch.
Yeah, those moments were just like, did you just throw your ult out on a hook, a blind hook? Like, but you trusted him. Like they knew he was there. They said they could see him, but also the fact that you could throw your like. I understand when Malfurion does it with a hook on Stitches. Like every time he hooks, just throw it a root. Okay, because it's only a 60-second cooldown, but it's your ult. It's crazy, man. It's such a good game.
It really is. It really is crazy the amount of trust that they had. And you know what? I actually tried to watch a lot of League. I really learned a lot from watching League, streamers, and I watched the pro play of League, and you just don't actually see that type of play. Like there is coordination, and they stick together when they need to, but the amount of just relying on your carry to get you to the end, it's really different. It's not the same. It's just not a team game. It really isn't.
It seems like a level. Fill the bar game, and whoever fills the bar faster wins. And by that I mean whoever gets the gold faster wins. And not
there is comeback potential though.
Yeah,
and it's great to see those comebacks. It's really interesting and engaging. But it's not the same. It's not team play that usually gets them there. It's one player, right? And
the whole idea that if you like in Heroes, you want to be split up so that you can get the XP, but you want to be together so you don't die, and like that whole balance was such a big deal. And in League, you all want to be split up because the gold is so important. I don't know.
Yeah, it's honestly so crazy. I was thinking about it, and like back at the beginning of a League, did they even intend there to be a jungle role? Was jungler supposed to be a role in the game, or was it just something that they didn't intend but ended up being meta?
Well, in Dota you could have a jungler, but it was not like I don't think there was like a dedicated jungler. It was like someone who was able to take a jungle camp, and I think it was from that. I don't think it was meant to be like a thing you just constantly did. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I played back in like season 2 a lot, but I didn't play very much when it first came out.
Yeah, I hated the community. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Couldn't get into it. They just kept me out.
It was actually for me better than the games I have been playing. Dota was Nightmare community, and then Sodus was the StarCraft 2 Dota clone that I was playing, and that community was very toxic as well.
Yeah, I bet. I've heard such great things about Dota.
Yeah.
No, I've definitely heard that it's even more toxic than I could ever imagine, and that's I don't know, pretty crazy. It's something.
So do you like Rainbow Six you're playing? Is there a favorite game of all time that you have? To jump into a big question. So you have the impression game of Snake. We're talking about World of Warcraft and some games that influenced you. What game do you think is the number one game that you can go back to, or that you think has the most impact on you of your life?
So I'll answer your question first, but then I want to clarify something.
Okay.
I think WoW. WoW I played for such a long time, and I have such fond memories. It really, I think, defined who I am in a good way. Like I experienced PvP, I experienced casual gameplay. It was the whole package. And I still need that package, like that package is still what I strive for. But now I have to play multiple games to get it, and WoW was just the one that had everything for me. But just to clarify something, you said Snake. Did you? So I was talking about like the Snake A, like the 2D.
Yeah. The 2D snake.
Okay.
Grab marbles and your snake gets longer, and then you crash into yourself.
Oh yeah, dude, that was it. Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah, not Snake, the Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. I don't even think I've ever played one of the. I've seen it. It's interesting, but
yeah. Actually, I was playing Hitman on stream yesterday, and
I saw that.
It reminded me a lot of Metal Gear. Like I was feeling like I was playing Metal Gear.
Absolutely.
It was really cool, and I want to play that game more. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends. And I don't know, Hitman, Dishonored, these types of like stealth games are pretty interesting. I don't know, I feel like I could actually like them, but I don't know, I've never really giving them a try. I even own Dishonored on Steam, but haven't played it. I've heard such good things.
Yeah, I heard
Dishonored?
amazing good things about Hitman 2, and so I had to jump into it. And Dishonored, I'm trying to remember if I played it. I feel like I've seen the name so much that I feel like I must have played it at some point, but I don't think so because I can't remember exactly what you do. And you're saying it's a stealth game, and I was like, wait, no, I don't remember that, not at all.
You know what? I say it's a stealth game. It might just be that there's like a stealth possible playthrough. Maybe it's not a stealth game. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It was that a medieval one, Dishonored?
I believe. Let me look at the Steam page real quick. I believe it's like just like stealth, like military or something. Maybe it's modern.
It's modern.
Yeah. I thought it was modern. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't played it at all. So yeah, then definitely I've never played it because I'm thinking it's a medieval game. I'm thinking of For Honor. It's not Dishonored. Yeah.
You know what? If it was medieval, I probably would have played it.
A medieval stealth game where you run, but you have to be in armor. Okay.
I mean, Assassin's Creed was too easy, but
yeah,
an actual medieval stealth game like that was not easy. Yeah, I probably would have loved that.
I think that would be an interesting game because you could just play a ninja game. So
yeah, I guess they did exist, huh?
Yeah, like I mean, then there's like the Splinter Cell games and stuff. If you ever played those were like the older. Metal Gear and Splinter Cell were probably the first real stealth games. And then there's like Thief.
Oh yeah. Thief.
I'm trying to remember what else was, but yeah, those are all interesting games. I've never been really good at them because I always just want to go out gun blazing. But I think once you play through them the first time and you can go out guns blazing, and then you realize it's really hard, and then you play through a second time and you're like, okay, let's see what I can do, which is kind of what happened last night, in that they tell you to do this mission again, but do it a different way, and so you have to like be creative and figure out what you're gonna do. It was good. That game was actually a lot of fun. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised. I knew it was going to be good. I'm just glad it was on Steam sale for giving me a reason to buy it.
Have you ever played? I know it's a new game. Have you ever played Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice?
Yes. Yeah. I got to. There's like a monk, and apparently you fight him twice in the game. But I'm fighting him for the first time, and he's like a purple image. And he keeps kicking my butt, and I just haven't picked the game up because I'm just like, I can't get past this guy. And I look up guides, and it's just people cheesing him and killing him in like 10 hits, and like I'm just like, no, I am not capable of doing that.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually like how you're like recommended to play it, dude. Like it's such a like, you know, backstab them. That's the way to play it. It's such a that type of game. So interesting. It's like definitely not what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the it was like throw 2 snaps and then jump around and then leap off the wall, and you'll get it if you do it correctly, you'll activate the stealth landing kill, and you can just stab him and you win. And I was like, oh
yeah. And there are bosses that have like 2 bars, and you just stab them once and they're at 1 bar now. And it's like it's so interesting.
Yeah, you have to start the fight by stabbing him. Yeah, you don't want to start the fight just in a straight up fight on him. You have to sneak behind him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, the fact that you can't use different weapons in that game is kind of a turnoff for me. I really, really love FromSoft games. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you. But Sekiro, I'm gonna go back to it. I definitely want to go back to it. But yeah, just using a little weapon, you know, being the oh my goodness, what are they called? What do they call themselves? Not ninjas.
Shinobi.
Yeah. Just playing the, you know, Shinobi class basically.
Yeah.
And not being able to change that, it's kind of, you know, it's not really my thing. But
gotcha. Yeah, that was fun though. It had I wouldn't call that a stealth game though, because you just like straight up murder people and then run away. Like
yeah.
And then you wait for them to reset, and then you run in and murder someone else. Yeah.
Isn't it funny that leash mechanic is still in modern games?
Yeah. would the game be good without it though? Would it be fun to play if you just had to be that tedious always? It was, I don't know. Like, it's so tedious fighting guys already. Would it be fun to be that tedious fighting every little guy and realizing that they're going to follow you forever?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. It still sort of feels weird, right? When you're backstabbing somebody, getting that free kill, and then you just run away, and then 20 guys that were chasing you just slowly back up, reset, you get another free kill and run away. I mean, that's like exploiting a bad game mechanic, right? That's what it feels like to me, and it's interesting. It still exists, and it's like so common.
Yeah, it's part of the game as opposed to like being something that they didn't intend. They totally intended that. There's like no way around that. And then right now, what's your favorite game to stream right now? So your Rainbow Six I see a lot on there, and then Apex, you were saying?
Yeah, Apex Legends. I definitely love that game. I definitely want to play.
With
I'm
season
so
2
for
coming
season
out.
2. Yeah, that's actually today. Comes out right now today.
On the 2nd of July for anyone listening in the future.
Yeah, they have all their updates on Tuesdays. Yeah, just like WoW, right?
Yeah, the Tuesday for me on WoW was like, okay, I'm going to go do something with my life now, I guess. Every time there was a patch or like the thing, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? There's nothing on my computer. I can't. There's literally nothing for me to do right now, which is not true anymore. But yeah, back as a kid, it was definitely like Tuesdays were like, holy crap, it's Tuesday. We were worse than Wednesdays for sure.
But I really am enjoying Rainbow Six Siege. It's a different game. I've never played a game quite like it. In that, yes, you see like crazy plays where you're like, you're aiming at one corner, peeking at a really tight angle, you can barely see anyone walking, and then you have to like shoot one guy and then turn around, shoot another guy. So there are like crazy mechanic plays, but the vast majority of that game, the thing that separates the top players from whatever below them is just like map knowledge and situational awareness, being smart. I've never played a game that just rewarded someone for being that smart. CS:GO is kind of close, but I really hate that game.
So the more you play, I mean, when I play the game, I just feel like I'm dying constantly because I have no idea what's happening. And so again, map knowledge and all that it's really important. First off, spawning in, everyone shoots the cameras, and I'm like, wait, there's a camera? What? How do I find it? And they're all dead by then. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll try to figure that out next time. And then it's like the next time the exact same thing happens. So it's really one of those games that the learning curve and the intro to it is just brutal. It's just a brutal game to start. I don't know what's going on. I'm just spamming my abilities. I'm putting up reinforced walls on things. I don't know if that's where it goes or not. Maybe. Let me just throw it. That one's not covered yet. So yeah, but yeah, watching someone who's good at it is interesting at least. But again, I don't really know what's happening half the time when I'm watching still.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think it's not that great a game to watch on stream, and honestly, it reflects in the popularity of the game. It's doing pretty well. It's staying solid. The devs are doing really good things with every update, pretty much. They just revamped the ranked system after 4 years, like totally revamped it in a great way. They added bans. I saw you like doing a draft. Yeah. I was like, what the hell is going on? It's HOTS now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, it rewards teamwork and teamwork alone.
I mean, it does though. Like the teamwork, the strategizing, the awareness. It's like HOTS, right? Like it's like League is a carry. One carry can do a lot, and then like he just has to get the most gold, not die, get carried by get some help by his team. But then Siege is like actual team play. It's like League versus HOTS. Rainbow Six Siege, it's not that great a game to view as a viewer,
Yeah.
Because if you don't play the game, like so CS:GO, you can just watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the same for like Apex Legends. Even like, sure, you don't know the map, you don't know like what guns are being used, but it's a shooter. It's a first-person shooter, and CS:GO is sort of the same. Like you can just tell what's going on.
Yeah.
But Siege, because it's so strategic and like map knowledge is like one of the biggest things. Like I don't know, it's really the learning curve turns people off for sure.
And the which walls to reinforce and what your other team is doing and reinforcing, I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know why he's reinforcing that wall or this wall, or how I can help him by which wall I should reinforce. And then and then knowing what all the operators do is a big deal. I know half of them I have no idea what's about to come at me when I see them. But yeah, it's definitely a game that it's fun to watch just because it's guns and it's military, and it's cool to see all these people that like there's something timeless about that. But knowing all the rules definitely makes it harder to watch. But I can almost say that about Overwatch too. And then I find it hard to watch Overwatch.
I fully agree. Holy crap!
Because
I didn't think you would say that.
Like I see the game and I know what's happening, but it's just kind of like I don't know. It's a game that is meant to be played. Almost, I feel like it's not. I don't feel comfortable watching it. But also, I haven't ever watched like the highest level of play. Now, I should definitely tune in on one of these the Overwatch League when they have their. Because again, I've only watched like when it was first starting out. I watched back then, and I was like, okay, yeah, this looks like people playing Overwatch. I think maybe now there's definitely strats and stuff that I have to like pick up on and understand what the pros are doing in order to appreciate the game, which is probably the problems I'm having with watching it in the first place. But
yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a game that's meant to be played and not watched as. Even at the top level, honestly, like, so the biggest one of the biggest problems with Siege is the spectating, and they've gotten better at it now. But like, if for instance you're watching a player that you expect to get some kills, and then someone else gets a double kill, there's no action. You're done.
Yeah,
there's nothing to see.
Yeah,
and in Overwatch, it's actually like it's worse. It's honestly worse. Like you can watch the Genji player. But if he dies and then like the Tracer goes in and like kills Mercy and then like the fight just ends after Genji dies, like I don't know, it's like the weirdest. It's a bad kind of clusterfuck, you know? Like it's just not that fun to watch. And it won like I think it won Game of the Year and Esport of the Year one year.
Yeah,
and I was just blown away by that.
I don't mind that it's doing that. But again, to me, it looks, and I've said this before, it looks very similar to Heroes, except on a exponential scale. Of that, they've put so much money into it that they're refusing to say it's failed or that it's going to fail or anything like. No one was even mentioning that, but it just seems really inflated to me. I was like, how much money are they spending? And then also, how much developer time went into making sure the spectator mode works. I guess it's good, and I've said this before. I hope Overwatch League succeeds. I hope it continues going, and I need to tune in a more recent broadcast to determine if I still don't like watching it. But yeah, it's a game that it's fun to play. It's also a little bit toxic. There's quite a little bit toxic community.
Oh yeah, I've heard complaints about the fact that. You can't actually see how your team is doing, like your kills wise in ranked. I'm pretty sure that's.
Oh, gotcha.
Still.
You only get to see how well you are, right? You get to see if you're the best or not, because it'll gives you a gold medal if you're the top damage or whatever.
And in theory, that's to prevent toxicity, right? But what it ends up doing is that now people can blame their team, and they have no reason to believe that they're not being truthful. Like, if for instance I'm like, oh, Diva, you're playing so badly. You're never tanking for me. Are you always dead or something? Like,
yeah, you don't have any stats. You have no idea how much
damage
she's taken or received or removed from the map with her whatever danger zone thing.
Yeah, like if for instance she has been tanking really, really well for other teammates, that just means you were out of position as a DPS or whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, you just have no knowledge of that anymore, so people are just toxic, and it's like weaponized ignorance, right? You just have no idea.
Well, you have a gold medal, so obviously you're the best.
Good point.
How could he be wrong, really? All right, so are you looking forward to any games? I'm assuming Classic WoW you're looking forward to.
Classic WoW I am looking forward to. You know what I'm not looking forward to about it, though? The paying a subscription.
Oh, you just want to stay on your private servers?
I haven't had to pay a subscription in anything for quite a while. And it's a game I've already played.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah. You're going to bite the bullet.
But I'm also really excited. And I know it's going to bite me in the ass being excited for it. But Cyberpunk 2077...
Yeah, a lot of people excited about that game.
It looks good. I was excited even before Keanu Reeves, which I know is controversial that I will say that. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, it really looks good. You know, a fun fact that I tell everybody that I talk to about this game. It's a Polish company, CD Projekt Red, and in Poland, they had to get a city building permit to make the game because it was so large and detailed.
They had to build something outside in order to model the game, or they just I don't understand.
Because the 3D rendering, they have the same thing in architecture, right?
Okay.
To design a city in a certain way, or like map out a city, you have to get like a city building permit, and they had to get one for this game because of how detailed it was. As if they were going to construct buildings in a city and map out a real city, they had to get the same permit.
That's insane. That's
I find that to be like a very fun fact. But
it is, a very fun fact. It's interesting and how detailed that means the game is going to be. So, did you like The Witcher? You like Witcher 3?
I'm very intrigued by Witcher 3.
You haven't played it?
I have seen a lot of gameplay, and I plan to play it. However, the reason that I'm hesitant about my excitement for CD Projekt Red, for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's an open world game, and those tend to not really stick with me.
Gotcha. It's not the experience. It's not the
optimized.
Yeah, there's going to be like a couple quests on the outside that are bugged or something. It's not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, when I played Breath of the Wild, right? I love that game. I think it deserved Game of the Year. I voted for it. But oh man, I got 3/4 of the way through the game, right? Because have you played that game?
Yes, I've played it a lot. I love it.
So there are the three, corners of the map that you have to beat 3 bosses, and then you fight Ganon, right? That's the basic premise. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah. And if it is, the game's been out for so long, please, why haven't you played it yet?
Right. I beat 3 of them, but by that point, I had played 200 plus hours.
Yeah.
I was doing so much of the side content, and I was so, over leveled. After beating the 3rd guy and it being the easiest time of my life, I just felt I had experienced the full game, and I didn't play anymore. I never beat Ganon.
Did you ever go to the castle?
Nope.
You should go to the castle. There's the castle itself, and don't look up any guides on how to get to Ganon. The castle itself is another puzzle. I don't think it's as good puzzle-wise or what you call it, Ocarina of Time's dungeons were very good, were amazing dungeons. Yeah. Breath of the Wild definitely lacked in that content because they split all the dungeon puzzles up into shrines, and they put the shrines all over the world as opposed to putting them into one big dungeon.
Yeah. And it's that kind of I don't want to say unoptimization.
It was disconnected.
Yeah. It's that kind of it turns me off.
Yeah.
I really liked the game. I really played a lot of it. I said 200 hours. I played so much, just messing around and enjoying the world, the scenery. I did a lot of the puzzles. Obviously, I fought a lot of the random hard mobs and stuff. I even tried the New Game Plus mode or whatever.
Yeah, the master mode.
I hated the master mode. I hated it. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't meant for it. The beginning was way too hard. None of your weapons did any damage at the beginning at all. I don't know.
I remember it being very, very difficult and just being I just won't fight anything. And I never even got it very far. And I just went back to the normal mode because I wanted to explore.
Yeah, and what's the point if you can't even like your weapons will break before you kill anything. There's literally no way to actually play the game you want. There's one play style in the hard mode, and it's not that great.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
I
I can see that. It's not fulfilling to play the only way that's good. It doesn't feel creative, and like I'm gonna use a grenade or a bomb on these guys, and I'll attack this guy with a sword for no particular reason. Oh, but you have to do it this specific way because of the way your weapons break, and it forces you to optimize, which is some people probably want that, I guess, and it just wasn't. For me too. It wasn't for me. I wasn't interested in master mode.
It's kind of the same. Like you just said, there's one play style, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reminds me of, do you feel like WoW and MMOs have kind of run their course? Besides obviously Classic coming out, and that's hype as fuck, but
there's only one way to play or one good way to make an MMO that has the way the feedback loops are set up.
It's like, yeah, I mean, so WoW came out, and in Classic and Burning Crusade, and even in RuneScape, there were no like online guides to like find the correct way to play.
Yeah,
And
Day one, there's guides now.
Yes, at a certain point, it just went to the point where now there's one way to play. You have one talent tree, that is correct.
Right.
And even WoW even changed their whole talent tree system so that there's literally only one way. I don't know. It's all games are like that now, and I think MMOs have taken the brunt of that hit. I don't know. I feel like meta, optimizing everything is just so.
I was running around in Nazjatar, the new zone, a couple days ago, and I started killing these elite Naga mobs. And they dropped like 5 gold each and like some green cloth item. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea how valuable the green cloth item is. But they were dropping like 5-10 gold every time I killed one. It took me 30-40 seconds to kill one. And I was so excited for the first time in like a long time, because it reminded me of like farming cloth and gold back in vanilla and Burning Crusade, where I would just grind on mobs, and like I'm not getting any reputation. I'm not getting anything that's valuable other than gold and these green cloths that I have no idea how much they're worth. But I got so excited, and I was like, oh, I gotta farm this before Blizzard fixes it. like that was immediately in my head was I have to farm this area before Blizzard fixes it to removes the fun, removes the reward. Like the feeling of reward I was getting off this, just getting like 5-10 gold off each mob was like, and I have no idea if they patched it. I don't know if I was even correct in that being a good farming spot, but it just felt really good. But yeah, they'll patch out anything that's outside the norm, that's that's forcing people to play a certain way, I guess, if you know about it.
The worst example of that, I think, was back in the day. Do you remember a game named Cube World?
No, I don't.
Okay, so like it was voxel, like Minecraft is voxel style. But it was like an MMO sort of. You could play on a server with up to 4 friends. That was the thing. And it was randomly generated, but it was like very in depth. But it was voxel.
Okay.
And there were classes and everything, and there were like little dungeons. And there are hang gliders, so you can jump off a mountain and hang glide and go like really far. It's really cool and chill. But with the ranger class, there was like a disengage where you jumped backwards. I think in WoW there's also a disengage ability, right?
For hunters, yeah, hunters have disengage.
Yes.
They jump away from whatever they're facing.
That's exactly the same as the ranger class. And what you could do was disengage and use the hang glider, and you would literally go flying. And it was like just so fun because it's like an offline game basically,
Yeah.
Like you make your own server or whatever. And it was like really, really fun to just go flying for no reason. Like, I don't know. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was not a big deal. And the developer stopped developing that game. And the last update he did was removing that.
What? Cube World. He just decided to. First off, he's not going to update the game anymore, but he's also just going to remove the only thing that. I mean, not the only thing, but just something that kind of broke the game, but is still fun and not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's like removing cheats from GTA. You know, like why?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Wow.
mean, in like WoW, I see what you mean. Like, when like a meta is developing, they'll try and like stop it, but it's always gonna be there. Guides are always gonna come out.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that there's guides on day one because they have a PTR now, so the game can be
Yeah.
data mined. And then, if you go on Wowhead on day one of the new content, they're like, here's everything you need to know about the new content. And you can read the whole article and know, oh, I need to do this, 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 and this. Which is really, it's both good and bad because I like it in the fact, like, I'm going to go look at it because I'm going to be like, oh, what is this? Like, why am I carrying this item in my bags? And I can look up and find out why this item is in my bags. Like, there's this seed. There's all these different items you can find in the new area that unlock a rare mob, but you have to go find the spot to put them. But it doesn't tell you where to put them, so you have to go look up a guide to find out where does this item go. Like, there's a seed you can get if you're I think if you have to be an herbalist or something, and then you can go grow this plant that you then feed it flies and it turns into a rare mob and
Oh yeah,
you kill it.
I think they sort of introduced like that concept, like planting stuff on the map. Wasn't that like Warlords of Draenor? I think they had like a quest where you did that.
Yeah, I think in Pandaria there was a farm and stuff.
Yeah, that was like.
But
It's interesting that they've expanded on that, I guess.
this one's just rare mobs, so like you can get like a piece of bait that you can throw into a churning pool, and then it'll summon a rare mob out of it. And everyone else can jump and help you kill it, and they'll get credit for killing the rare mob. Anyone can have the item, so it's kind of cool. And like, hey, I'm about to spawn this. You can say it in chat, and then people will show up and help you kill it. But also, when you first get the item, you have no idea what it does. And some of the fun in the game is figuring out how to do that. But also, why don't I just look up a guide so I don't waste 10, 50 minutes trying to figure out what this thing does, which is what I did. I ended up looking up, like, where exactly do I put this thing? So, yeah, it's why wouldn't I do it? But it also ruins some of the fun of the game. And they must have to balance the game based on that as well.
Yeah, they must. I mean, I don't. I feel like Blizzard's actually pretty bad at that, though. I don't know, at balancing like those little details, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not the. I think it's an organization now. It's not a game design thing. It's a corporation. It's how do we keep this thing running and keep the pipeline moving and keep the content flowing to keep the players here, which is not bad because that's what people want. But also, its goal is no longer a good game as much as making something that keeps people. I mean, I'm assuming the individuals, everybody in part of it, wants to make the best game they can. But when you have something of that scope, a game of the scope of World of Warcraft, it's impossible to keep hands on all edges and keep it all focused on one thing. And yeah, I'm excited for Classic just because I feel like the scope of the game was way smaller and they were able to focus the game a little bit better. Not that it was perfect. There's a lot of problems with WoW Vanilla. But that the scope of the game is way smaller and quite a bit slower. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I want to give props to I don't know if you've ever played it, but Guild Wars 2.
I played it for a little bit.
It did a lot of things kind of bad, but it kind of perfected one thing, and that's I think PvP. So if you go into the game, first of all, the game's free, but there are like 2 expansions and they cost money. That I think you can get $30 both of them. I think. But anyway, if you go in at level 1, you can go into the PvP and play competitively because your armor doesn't matter. Like in WoW, you have to get resilience armor or whatever they call it now. I think they changed the name of that shit.
It's gone now. There was at some point it didn't matter what you were wearing. It was doing the same thing as Guild Wars where you got a set. You got a gear set when you went game into a battleground. They would give you the exact gear, and your stats would change no matter what you were wearing.
But I think Guild Wars does it better just because the combat in Guild Wars is so high skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, the game is really really fast paced. There's even rolling in the game. Like, you have two bars. Like you can roll twice, and then the stamina bar fills up again. Like,
Gotcha.
even that little detail, like you can literally dodge one or two abilities for free on a cooldown, and everybody has that. It's
Yeah.
just like there's so many details to the game.
Yeah, I think the
in
biggest
PvP.
problem with the WoW templates for PvP is that like you would have like say I was a shaman and I stacked haste gear, and then I went into a battleground, and all of a sudden I'm now using mastery gear because it doesn't matter what my gear has on it; it just would switch. So like all my spells would now move slower. Yes, they would proc more. They would things would happen, but like the whole way you play your character is completely changing when you enter a battleground.
That's true, and I think that's definitely the case for Guild Wars as well. And like Dylan said, he's my friend in your chat, that it doesn't push for grinding. That's true, but at the same time, at least in Guild Wars, it takes so long to actually master what you're spec'd for and what gear you have. Like compared to WoW, like in WoW, it's just action bars, and everything has its own cooldown, and then there's like the global cooldown. I think there's everything on the same global cooldown now.
Yeah,
Right.
almost everything except racials I think are on the global cooldown.
And in Guild Wars, it's like you have 1 through 5 action bar, and then you can switch weapons as well in combat, and then you have another 1 through 5 action bar worth of spells, and then 6 through 0 is a whole different like special thing. It's like way more in depth. That I think the inclusivity, even though it doesn't push for grinding, it pushes for mastery so much, and I think it's such a good system in that game. But
Yeah.
I won't talk about it too much. I know you're not that.
No, I just
Yeah,
don't know.
much
I don't know much about it. I played a little bit.
Yeah.
I really do like PvP. I'm pretty garbage at it, but it's fun to do when you're with friends. I think. Like I remember playing with my cousin who was a gladiator, and playing with him was always a great because he would just carry me everywhere through battlegrounds. I would just play resto, and he was a warrior, so I would just heal him, and I'd be like, I have a guy on me, and he's like, I'm here, and I'm like, oh, thank yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
He saves me, okay, and then I just keep healing him. So yeah, it's I would like a good PvP game, but I'm also always super wary of like the netcode of a online game because like
Oh man.
and especially like Sea of Thieves. If you play Sea of Thieves for PvP, you're gonna be in for a bad time. That game is so buggy, and like jumping around makes you like teleport around the screen, and your shots don't go where you think they are because they're not actually where they are according to the server specific settings, and like it's awful. It's really obnoxious to play Sea of Thieves in a PvP setting, even though they just released that arena mode.
Definitely know what you mean. It's not. I mean, it's not a competitive game, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves, you can jump in with friends and play, and you can be PvP oriented, but it's not.
Well,
they don't need to have like the most perfect netcode or whatever.
They released the arena mode, which which
and it probably has a leaderboards too, right?
I don't know if it has a leaderboard, but it definitely has like a competitive aspect to it. And the whole idea is you have to fight and like kill the guy who's in the lead so that he sinks, so that he loses points, so that you can get the lead. So fighting in PvP is very, very important in that mode. And when people get on your ship and just start jumping around, it's not fun anymore to like be like, I literally shot that guy with my shotgun blunderbuss, and nothing happened because he jumped.
Yeah,
and he moved.
I mean, the jumping around and everything is so seamless in the game, and it seems like kind of a good thing, but really it's just adding randomness because of the netcode, right? Like it's literally just randomness.
Yeah,
You either hit them or you don't, and it doesn't really.
it doesn't feel good.
Really feel like it's not rewarding your actual skill, right?
Yeah. And then the optimal way to play now is to do that as well, so that the server has no idea where anybody is, and then everyone's just shooting off into the side, hoping they kill someone.
I do love that game though. I mean, having a ship battle, like shooting cannons and shit. Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah, definitely. And the new ship stuff and the harpoon and the shooting people's masts and knocking them down, that's amazing. It's when you get one person on your ship, or both ships get their anchor knocked down, and then you're both just sitting there trying to get your anchor up, and everyone's jumping around on the other ship, killing people trying to get the anchor up. It's just really an obnoxious game. Like at that point, like you're like, I can't, just let me out of this hell, please. Like I would like to just shoot cannons, please.
Yeah, I almost feel like the simplicity of it was really nice, but I don't know. I feel like the way that they're going with the game is interesting. I don't know if it's what I wanted. I really wanted like a vast sea, right? Like, so right now in the game,
like
and
a maelstrom
from the beginning,
in the middle of the sea kind of thing, like a giant sea with nothing in it.
No. Like, just make the map bigger, just
Okay.
in general. Like, so right now and from the beginning, right? If you kill somebody, you destroy someone's ship, kill them both.
Yeah.
They spawn at, at a set location that's not that far. They
Yeah.
can just come back,
Right.
and that I feel like is the
Even if they
biggest
spawned on the
flaw.
farthest side of the island, it would take them 20 minutes to get there, maybe. And
Not even. I don't think it's even that, is it?
yeah. They.
But, yeah, I don't know.
think
I feel
I
like
think it
that's-
takes like 20 minutes to cross the whole map if you're crossing from like one like very bottom right corner to top left corner kind of thing. It
Yeah,
might-
but that's pretty rare though.
if you're and you have to be with the wind as well.
But they don't even spawn on the other side of the map, isn't it? Just like
It depends. It depends on if you're at like a skeleton fort, they'll spawn on the other side of the map. If you're just in the middle of nowhere, they'll spawn at a decently medium sized kind of random where they're going to spawn.
That sounds kind of better than it was before, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Still, I wanted the map to get much bigger. Just like more.
Yeah,
more,
I mean,
islands,
I've been
maybe
killed
even
by
more
it. We've
spread out.
been killed by a kraken before, or a person kills us near a kraken, and we'll just turn the boat and go right back and get to the kraken as it goes away, and we'll pick up all our loot right out of the water. Like, okay, yeah, we found it.
Like being in a ship battle that takes like a long time. That's actually, I find it to be quite fun. I mean, it can be really frustrating, but when another ship comes and fucks you both over,
Yeah.
and it just makes it completely random.
Yeah,
Because in a three crew ship battle, it's kind of just random who gets ganged up on, right?
yeah,
And
it's whoever lines up on the cannons the best.
That's got to be like the biggest turnoff for me. And if the map was way bigger and had like the same amount of crews on it, I feel like that would kind of be fixed as well.
I think if it was any bigger, it would make it. You would just be playing a solo game almost. It would just take it. It'd be too hard to find people.
But at that point, they could actually make it more rewarding to kill people in some way. I don't know how you could do that, but you could. Right now, you absolutely cannot. Like if they rewarded people for having PvP, for doing PvP, then that would be all of the game, and the whole Reddit community would be in a fucking outcry, even more than they already were. But
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone's
like,
getting
like
mad
I
about
said,
getting pirated.
Oh yeah, even though that's such a big part of the game. There's already a lot of downtime of sailing. What?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, I guess Miller,
agree.
you're the top level. You're going to like the highest level missions, right? I feel like that's not the majority of the community, though.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
there's a
here.
lot, and they added a whole new section. There was basically their anniversary update. They added a whole like Tall Tales section, which is actually a lot of fun to do. But once I finished it, I was like, "Oh, I'm done." Again, kind of like the WoW mode, or I'm done with this content. I don't want to keep. I don't want to keep repeating this over and over and over. And then the arena was a lot of fun, but the netcode was a big turnoff. The fact that you could jump and kill people, and it didn't feel like it was a fair fight. It was just a random fight. Turned me off from that game as well. Very fun game, amazing. I mean, the fishing and the harpoon are like got to be my favorite things in the game right now. Like the harpoon is just so much fun to use, especially sailing and like turning around an island while at full speed and then turning to like outmaneuver somebody so that your guns are facing them and stuff. It's just really fun. And then the fishing is just actually a lot of fun to do for some random reason. The fishing is like it's one of those grinding things where like it's just really fun to do, over and over and over. And then at some point, though, you're like, well, why am I doing this? You realize what you're doing, and you're like, I gotta stop. This is not helpful. I'm not achieving anything anymore.
So my suggestion was just make the map bigger, but I know you and Miller are both ganging up on me. So I'm just curious what you think the game needs, because you're saying like the game is kind of, you're like turned off of it, right? You like the harpoon and the and whatever. But...
So for PvP, if they want to do an arena, they need to fix their netcode. They need to make it really stringent, make it a more PvP focused netcode, and it's going to take like more server architecture and stuff like. And I don't know enough about, other than saying the word netcode. I don't really know what that entails because I'm not a server programmer or any kind of thing like that. And then for the game itself, it needs a way to either funnel people towards each other or give them a reason to, like, I think PvP is a good idea, like giving them a reason to go after each other or interact or help each other, or the stories you come up with in that game are the things that drive you. So the memories you make are the things that drive you, which is what I'm trying to do in WoW right now when I play. I try to make it I try to take a little bit of piece of the Sea of Thieves, in that the stories you create when you meet people and the things you can say to each other with like proximity chat and the random things you can say to people and experience because you don't know who you're going to run into is the big draw of the game. Getting gold doesn't matter. Like getting the next rank of whatever and turning in the chest doesn't, honestly, if I lose all my chests, I don't care. It doesn't matter, because in the end, all it is I'm going to go turn in more chests. So it's those little moments between moments that matter. And then you realize, like, well, I could just go outside and I could have those moments. I go to a random bar and do that as well. So it's I don't know. The game needs a little bit something to keep you coming back and feeling fulfilled, and that's the social moments. And somehow engaging people socially with each other is the only way I could see that game keeping people engaged and playing.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Getting people to socialize in that game, or even just fight, or maybe rewarding fighting or socializing more. That could be good. But I feel like, at least my experience from, especially when the game was new and very hyped, people were so aggressive. Like there was no rules, right? Which was fine. That's like it's a pirate game, but everyone was just like totally random. Like you would just be fighting, and then like two other ships would just be waiting for you to be fighting, and they would both just come along, and you'd just be in this brawl, and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. And I don't know, the game was like completely random.
Yeah, I think those epic moments where you like fight a monster together from your ship, like a Kraken or a Megalodon, those could be good moments to get people to work together on. Like, do more of that. Get some more giant monsters. Godzilla. Just have Godzilla show up and you have to kill him or something.
Is there incentive to kill those monsters?
No, there is. Yeah, well, not helping one another, but if you kill a monster, you get some loot. If you kill a tentacle from a Kraken, you get a chest and then some Kraken meat that you can cook and turn in for money.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, cooking's in the game too, by the way. That's
well, yeah, with fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They came at the same time.
Yeah. And then like a Megalodon, you get a bunch of loot drops when you finally finish him off. It's good. There's the only problem I have, right, especially with like the Megalodon. There's the shrouded ghost Megalodon. So there's different types of Megalodons, and the one that's the rarest, it's like a very, very low % chance to spawn, is the shrouded ghost. And I've never seen it. I've never even seen it. I've had one friend who's seen it, but it despawned before he killed it, so he didn't get credit for killing it. You get a commendation for killing it. So like we all have these like achievement boards basically in our bags, and we can't do anything with them. We can't. We can't get the ghost because there's no way to force it to spawn. You just have to keep playing and hope it spawns. So every time a Megalodon spawns, we're just like, oh, Meg. And we all look to see which one it is. Oh, it's the normal Meg. No one cares. Keeps failing. Okay. And then you just go on. It's like, that's a Megalodon. Like, it's not exciting anymore. It's not interesting. The only thing that's exciting is maybe a shrouded ghost will spawn. Yeah, it's just super, super rare. And there's a lot of things like that in the game that are like just ridiculously rare because they want you to keep, there's a segment of people that like that want to keep grinding and find that.
I feel like I always felt like they needed to do something different with the merchant, the chests, and the skull grinding. I know that they keep adding new ones, and that's very interesting. But I don't know. I
The
mean,
Tall Tales are good. They have like boss battles. You have like a raid boss that has mechanics like, you know, get away when he does this certain thing, teleports and stuff.
yeah. What is the Box of Wondrous Secrets thing? I saw that all over the subreddit back when I was part of it.
So there's in the new lava place, the shores of whatever lava. There is a chance for a box to spawn on a beach or anywhere in that area. The Devil's Thirst, Devil's Throne, something. And it gives you like 20,000, 25,000 money when you turn it in, which is insane. Like, it's ridiculously. So when you find it, you're just like, holy crap, is this real? And we found it. One of my crewmates found it. And we were all joking the day before that he would be the one to find it because he's the least competent of our crew. And then, of course, he actually did find it. So that whole moment, again, is a story. It's a social moment. It's like a touchstone I remember this happening thing. That makes the game fun. The game is, I could care less about the 25,000 gold. It was just like, holy crap, we found it. The Box of Wondrous Secrets, the 1% chance to spawn thing, whatever. It's really, those are the moments that the game is really good at. When you're just working as a crew and you run into something special like that. But it's only special because it's so rare.
I love that they added skeleton ships.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool mechanic, but I haven't actually gotten like a big chance to mess with it.
Yeah, they can't repair, or they can repair, but they can't bail water. So like the whole point is just keep hitting them with holes. They'll repair them if you're not, or you can send someone on board to kill them to stop them from repairing. But there's like 20 skeletons on board, and like there's like 6 on each layer. So you just sit there protecting a hole and hope that you can kill them.
In my very limited experience, I remember something crazy happened, and it was, I think I got hit with a cannonball, got knocked onto a skeleton ship, and then I just got shot by a bunch of them and died. Like I got knocked onto the skeleton ship, and I had the time to like turn around and see where I was, and then I realized I was so fucked, and then I got shot and died. I was so confused. So that was, I don't know, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, I feel like more things like that are very interesting. Like adding a skeleton ship, that's got to be like the most interesting addition they've made, in my opinion. And I feel like maybe stuff like skeleton towns, like some islands are like really dangerous or whatever, like really, really dangerous because they're like skeleton towns or something. Like, could you imagine that? I feel like it could be an interesting dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah, adding. I mean, anything that allow you to have a new experience and a new adventure is going to be good. But then that's all content, right? They have to add things to the game to keep it fresh, and it's not a subscription game. It's I mean, it kind of is because you get it with Game Pass. So the whole Microsoft subscription is that's probably where they're trying to make their money, not off the people who actually buy it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like how much more can you just keep? You go to the problem with World of Warcraft, and that you have to keep making content for this game in order for it to stay fresh.
Yeah, and then you get to the point where it's subscription and also microtransaction based, so you're relying on whales. I don't know. That's like a crazy example though.
Yeah.
I don't even know how WoW got away with that.
Yeah, they're not a free-to-play game, and yet they have like a real money DLC, thing that updates every patch, and the new stuff comes out, along with the new content. And then people are complaining, the newest, nicest mount that came out, that's the mount you get with the $75 package. It's a beautiful mount, gorgeous. And then you look at the mount that you get from finishing the raid on the most mythic difficulty right now, and it's like a reskin of another mount you can get already. And so people are really mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the worst of both worlds. It's like you're already paying for this game. You have to buy it, right? Like you have to buy these expansions, and you're paying subscription, and there's microtransactions, so you're not getting like rewarded. You're not able to get the best things for just like being good or
pride and accomplishment.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't even know. Hey, just like BDO. Yeah, true. Black Desert Online, if you're not aware.
Yeah. The one that you said was combo based, right?
Yeah, there's like a lot of combos.
You have to like control, click, and forward click, change the way you attack.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff like that, but it's still like I don't know. It's not. It's a Korean game.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Should tell you a lot.
MMOs. Well, this has been fun. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on. I'd be happy to come back sometime, maybe in a season 2.
Yeah, maybe I can have multiple people on at the same time. We can we'll have or I'll do like a clips episode, and we can all listen together to each other.
Yeah,
that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that.
I'd be down.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll definitely, I'll definitely see you around, man. So thank you so much. Anyone who's not yet following Gil, go to Twitter and go to @Gildarik and follow him, and then go to twitch.tv/Gildarik and follow him there, please. If you're not already doing that. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Gil. Have a good one.
See ya.
Jammin', oh, jammin'. You're listening to Jamincast.
That's it, boys and girls. Jamincast episode 5 in the bag. Gonna do a little house cleaning here. @Jamin the Shaman on Twitter. Twitch.tv/Jamin. And YouTube.com/Jamin the Shaman. Keep following the podcast. If you would leave me a review on iTunes, I will read it out live on air. I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say. And please keep it coming, guys. I love it. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited for next week. I will be back and in full force. And we are going to be kicking some Jamin Jut. Add a J to a word, and it becomes a Jamin Jord. Instead of word, it's Jord. Good night, everyone. Have a great night. Have a great life. And have a great morning.